1 week ago, markets put the odds of a Fed rate hike this Wednesday at barely 11%. Today, that number sits near 37%. It more than tripled in 7 days. And the one man who could settle the question has given markets exactly 4 words of guidance. Prices are too high. That's it. No speech, no leaked signal, no dot on the dot plot. For the first time in the modern era, Wall Street is walking into a Federal Reserve decision with no script, and that's not an accident. It's the whole plan. Let's rewind. The new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, was sworn in on May 22, after the most divided confirmation vote in modern history. 54 to 45, almost purely along party lines. And here's the twist. President Trump spent all of 2025 pressuring the Fed to cut rates, then nominated a man CNN flatly calls an inflation hawk. Warsh has history here. Back in 2010, as a sitting Fed governor, he publicly criticized his own institution's money printing program in the Wall Street Journal, basically heresy inside the Fed, and resigned 3 months later. He then spent 15 years arguing that the Fed talks too much, that forward guidance, the practice of telegraphing every move in advance, has spoiled markets rotten. Now he finally has the power to test that theory on us this week. His first meeting in June left 3 landmines. First, the dot plot, the chart where officials mark where they think rates should go, split exactly 9 to 9. 9 wanted at least one hike. This year, 9 wanted none. Second, Warsh refused to submit his own dot. 19 officials, 18 dots. The missing one belongs to the chairman. Third, the meeting statement was cut down to essentially one line. The committee will deliver price stability. His press conference lasted 10 minutes, and he cheerfully described the closed-door debate as a good family fight. Fortune counted it up. He's used that phrase 13 times since April. Say something once, it's a slip. 13 times? It's a strategy. Then July lit the fuse. On July 13th, the US-Iran ceasefire collapsed. Iranian attacks on tankers sent oil up over 9% in a single day. That same day came the real bombshell. Governor Christopher Waller, who a year earlier had dissented in favor of cutting rates, publicly flipped. His words, staring down inflation and hoping it melts under our glare, is not an option. When your most credible dove turns hawk, markets listen. Hike odds spiked toward 46%. Then the data punched back. June CPI, the inflation report, fell 0.4% for the month. The biggest single-month drop since April 2020, with annual inflation sliding from 4.2% to 3.5%. Odds crashed to 10.7%. But inflation reports measure last month's prices, and this month's prices live in a war zone. Oil broke $100 a barrel on July 23. By the 24th, the odds were back at 38%. 1 week tripled. So here's Wednesday's real drama. And it isn't just the rate. It's the vote count. JP Morgan's chief U.S. economist is formally predicting a contested decision with at least 2 hawkish dissents. Cleveland's Beth Hammack, who says inflation is too high for too long. And Dallas's Lori Logan, who warns it's not on track back to 2%. Understand how radical that is. 2 governors dissenting in July 2025 was the first time since 1993. 3 dissents last December was the first since 2019. Now analysts treat a unanimous vote as this week's least likely outcome. In just 1 year, dissent at the Fed Went from scandal to standard equipment. Exactly what the 2010 heretic always wanted. And read the fine print in market pricing. Futures say 37% for July, but 63% for September. And prediction markets give a hike sometime this year. Roughly a coin flip, 53%. Translation: the debate isn't really if, it's which meeting. That's why Wednesday's dissents matter more than Wednesday's decision. 3 hawkish no votes would basically be a save the date card for a September hike. So circle it. Wednesday, 2 p.m., the decision drops. At 2:30, Warsh takes the podium. For the first genuinely unscripted Fed press conference in a generation. If markets absorb it calmly, his silence doctrine wins round 1. If they convulse, 15 years of theory hits reality, hard. Either way, watch one line in that statement before anything else. The number of dissenting votes. That single number is your preview of where your mortgage, your savings rate, and this entire economy head next. Send this to the friend who thinks Fed meetings are boring. This one's a family fight, and we've all got a seat at the table.